Imagine it's a Tuesday, 8:14 a.m. You're checking your phone, annoyed about a work email or a slow commute. Suddenly, the sky doesn't just get bright, it turns a shade of white that shouldn't exist in nature. In that microsecond, your life as you know it has ended. But here is the terrifying part: you're still alive. For now. Most people think a nuclear war is an instant game over. They think they'll just vanish in a mushroom cloud. But the reality is far more psychological, far more mechanical, and way more intense. In the next few minutes, we are going to walk through the actual science of the apocalypse. We'll cover the invisible killers that hit before the sound does, the black rain that turns the sky into a poison shower, and the silent decade where the sun literally disappears. If you want to know if you'd survive, or if you'd even want to, you need to watch until the very end. Because the final stage of a nuclear war isn't fire, it's a trap set by the sun itself. Phase 1. The pulse in the silence. The first thing you need to understand is the speed of light versus the speed of sound. When a nuclear warhead detaches from its re-entry vehicle, it's traveling at 20 times the speed of sound. But the moment it detonates, the first weapon isn't the explosion, it's the EMP electromagnetic pulse. Within nanoseconds, gamma rays hit the atmosphere and strip electrons from the air. This creates a massive surge of electricity that flows into every wire, every circuit, and every microchip for thousands of miles. Your phone doesn't just die, it fries. The power grid collapses instantly. Modern cars, which rely on computers, stall in the middle of highways, creating instant, massive pileups. Suddenly, the world goes silent. No sirens yet, no screaming, just the sound of wind and the sight of that terrifying white light. Then comes the thermal pulse. This is the heat wave. If you are within 10 to 15 miles of a modern 1 megaton bomb, the heat is so intense it ignites everything flammable. Curtains and windows, dry leaves, even the clothes on your back. If you are looking at the flash, the retinas in your eyes are instantly scarred. You are now blind, standing in a world that is beginning to melt, and you still haven't heard the explosion. Phase 2. The hammer and the shadows. Now, the air itself becomes a weapon. The blast wave is a wall of compressed air moving faster than a hurricane. At the epicenter, the pressure is so high that reinforced concrete turns to dust. But as the wave moves outward, it does something even more horrific. It creates nuclear shadows. In Hiroshima and Nagasaki, scientists found silhouettes of people burned into stone steps. The light was so bright it bleached the stone, but the person standing in front of it blocked the light for a fraction of a second before they were vaporized. Their last moment was frozen in stone. Behind the blast wave comes the firestorm. The bomb ruptures gas lines and knocks over industrial chemicals. These thousands of small fires merge into one super inferno. This fire is so large it creates its own weather system. It sucks in all the oxygen from the surrounding miles, suffocating anyone hiding in basements or subways. If you survive the light and the blast, you are now fighting for breath in a world that is literally running out of air. Phase 3. The black rain, 1 hour to 24 hours. This is where the bore factor usually kicks in for most videos, but we're going deeper. Most people think radiation is just an invisible glow. It's not. It's physical. The explosion sucks up millions of tons of pulverized earth, buildings, and bodies into the mushroom cloud. This debris becomes highly radioactive. Up in the freezing atmosphere, this dust mixes with water vapor and turns into black rain. It's a thick, oily, dark liquid that begins to fall from the sky. It looks like a blessing water to put out the fires, but it is the most concentrated poison on the planet. If this rain touches your skin, you receive a lethal dose of radiation in minutes. If you drink it, your internal organs will begin to shut down by the next morning. This is the suspense phase. You're in a ruined city, you're thirsty, it's raining, but the rain is the killer. This is the moment where survival becomes a game of high-stakes physics. You have to find the middle of the middle, the center of a building, away from the roof and the ground, where the radioactive dust can't reach you. Phase 4. The walking ghost, days 2 to 14. There is a medical phenomenon called the latent period. After the initial sickness, many survivors feel better. Their nausea fades. They think they've made it. But this is the most terrifying part of the script. Inside your body, the radiation has destroyed your bone marrow's ability to produce white blood cells. Your DNA has been unzipped. Your body has forgotten how to repair itself. A simple scratch won't heal. Your hair begins to fall out in clumps. Your immune system vanishes. Scientists call this being a walking ghost. You are biologically dead, but your brain hasn't realized it yet. This period of false hope is one of the most psychological horrors of nuclear warfare. Phase 5. The silent summer months 1 to 12. Now we zoom out. The war is over. The missiles have all landed. But the planet is just beginning its response. The soot from those burning cities, 150 million tons of it, rises into the stratosphere. Unlike clouds, this soot is above the weather. It won't rain out. It spreads like a black shroud around the entire Earth. Within weeks, the sun turns into a dim, copper coin. Then, it disappears entirely. Temperatures drop by 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. In the middle of July, in places like Kansas or Punjab, it starts to snow. The global breadbaskets fail. This is the nuclear winter. It's not just a cold snap, it's a decade-long midnight. The grocery stores were emptied in the first hour of the war. Now the soil itself is frozen solid. This is where the death toll moves from the millions to the billions. It becomes a war for a single potato, a war for a handful of grain. Phase 6. The OOV trap, the 10-year mark. Let's say you are the ultimate survivor. You had the bunker. You had the food. You waited 10 years for the smoke to finally clear and the sun to come back. You open the hatch. The sky is blue again. You step out into the light, and you are instantly blinded. During the war, the chemical reactions in the atmosphere destroyed the ozone layer. The smoke protected you from the sun for a decade. But now that the smoke is gone, the Earth has no shield against ultraviolet V radiation. The sun's rays are now so powerful, they cause severe sunburn in seconds. They kill the tiny organisms at the base of the food chain. The Earth hasn't just been bombed, it has been sterilized. The revelation: is there any hope? So, why did you need to watch this? Is it just to be depressed? No, understanding the flow of the end is how humanity prevents it. We used to think nuclear war was winnable if you had more bombs. Now we know about the global commons, but scientists have identified a few lifeboats. Locations like New Zealand, Australia, and Iceland have the best chance, not because they won't get cold, but because they have independent food systems and are surrounded by the ocean, which regulates temperature better than land. The ultimate lesson? In a nuclear war, the only way to win is to ensure the countdown never starts. The scariest part about everything you just saw? It's not a movie script. Drop a comment below with yeses or no, and tell me where you'd hide if the sirens went off right now. I'll be hearting the most creative survival plans. If this deep dive gave you a new perspective on the end of the world, do 3 things for me. Hit that like button, it tells the algorithm that this data needs to be seen. Share this video with that one friend who thinks they just survived a nuclear blast. Show them the reality. Subscribe and turn on notifications. We're doing a deep dive next week into the secret bunkers of the 1%, and you don't want to miss where the billionaires are planning to go. Stay safe, stay informed, and remember, the best way to survive a nuclear war is to make sure it never happens. I'll see you in the next one.